All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the fourth part of the show, we are going to talk about Jerod Mayo. We're going to talk about some comments made by Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman. Speaking positively about Jerod Mayo and why he's the guy, for the Patriots as he is entering his first season as the head coach of the Patriots post Bill Belichick. Again, it's going to be weird not seeing Belichick on the sidelines for the Patriots because that's kind of been a constant all the years that I've been watching football. But, so let's get into what they had to say. So, Gronk was on Edelman's podcast, the Games with Names podcast, and this is what Gronkowski had to say. He said Jerod Mayo was just a phenomenon on the football field, lining everyone up and also in the meetings as well. He knew where every player needed to be during any situation that occurred on the defensive side of the ball. He knew how to read offenses. He knew when to call out plays, and he was always correct when he'd call a play out, or else he was just making the whole defense aware of when the play was going to be called. He was just always alert, and you could always tell that was going to translate into the next phase of his life. And then he also said when he was playing, that's what made him a better player too. If you know where to be on the football field, that can make you a better player because you're already in position to make the play. And Edelman said, I always had to look at Jerod. I knew what I had to do, but I always asked to get the approval from Jerod because if Jerod said that, you knew it was right. And Gronkowski said Jerod Mayo was the Tom Brady on the defensive side of the ball. So that high praise there from two guys that, won a lot of championships. It's going to be interesting, with, like I said, no Belichick on the sidelines. But, the Patriots had to go in a different direction. And, based off of what these two guys said, and I like to think they know what they're talking about because they won a lot of big games, and being on the field with him in practice, obviously they play opposite sides of the ball, Edelman and Gronk, and Jerod Mayo being on the defensive side of the ball, but yeah, if that's the case, maybe this could be he could be the right guy. Yeah, we got to see how it goes. We got to see when games are being played, and maybe the Patriots do surprise people, and the season isn't like how it was last year. Maybe the Patriots do win a couple more games. I'm not really gonna say they are because they're still kind of in rebuild mode. You got a young quarterback that you got to break in. There's still the offense is something you still got to work on, and that's why I think the Patriots are that's where the Patriots bad record is going to come in. Is just I just don't really believe in the Patriots offense. I think they're lacking on that side of the ball. Now the defense probably still going to be. The defense is still going to be good, but if you got an offense that's not really going to generate any points, it's going to be hard to win games. And I don't care how good your defense is. You also need to score points. I know defense wins championships, but your offense needs to score as well. And I just think that's why the Patriots, at least for this year, maybe Drake May is the guy. We'll see when he ends up starting. Because Jacoby Brissett, it looks like he's going to end up being the starter, at least, for now. But then I think at some point they're going to put in Drake May, and we'll see how he performs. So Jerod Mayo was on the 2014 Super Bowl team because I wanted to go back to his playing career. He was with the Patriots from 2008 to 2015. And then he's been on the coaching staff. But yeah, because I wanted to go back to see because I'm like, he had to be on one of the Super Bowl teams in the 2010s. So yeah, he was on the 2014 one against the Seahawks, which was one of the best Super Bowls ever. But yeah, that, like I said, that's high praise from Edelman and Gronk, and especially at the end, he's the Tom Brady of defense. So, we'll see how it all plays out. But at least for this year, I mean, if the Patriots go like 1-16, like, yeah, that's not a good way to start off. But if they lose a lot of games early on, but they start playing more competitive, and maybe they win one or two more games than they did last year. If there's a level of improvement as we go throughout the season, then that's at least something positive to look at. But like I said, it's a rebuild year. The Patriots, I mean, it's weird just that we used to look at this team as, they're going to win the AFC East. Lock it away, throw away the key. That's their division to win. But now it's not like that. Times have changed. They have not been a good team the last few years. I mean, they did make the playoffs in 2021, but, then 22 they finished the game below 500, I believe. They went 8-9, and then last year they won 4 games. So it's just, it hasn't been great. But, this is it's a new era, and I mean, it's all about now developing your young quarterback and just, it's the process, because everybody's always talking about the process. So, you let Drake May sit behind Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett could go out there and maybe win you some games. And then, you bring Drake May in, towards the end of the season. You give him some reps, and you see what you got in him. And then, the following year, he gets that full year. He gets that runway to, see what he could really do. And, see if you got your franchise quarterback there. And, people are high on Drake May. And that was a team that, and that was a guy that the Giants were trying to trade up to get. Because I know I talked about that when I was discussing the Hard Knocks trailer. So, we'll see what ends up happening. But, I think the Patriots got a lot of work to do specifically on the, the offensive side of the ball. Now, if you have the quarterback, makes things so much easier. Then you just got to work on what can we surround him with to put him in a great situation. Through the draft, through free agency. They just paid Ramondre Stevenson a lot of money. They brought back Hunter Henry. They extended him. They drafted a receiver. You hope Kendrick Bourne comes back healthy. Last year he got hurt. But they need a number one wide receiver. I think we're still missing that on this team. So, and, they're not going to get it this year. Well, maybe someone turns out to be that. But, I think you got to figure that out. So, that's really my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think about the Patriots, about Jerod Mayo. Do you believe that he is the right guy? And, it really, again, all goes back to they needed to go in a different direction after Belichick. And, maybe a new voice in that locker room, new ideas, a new philosophy. I mean, that we'll see how that goes. But when you got two guys in Edelman and Gronk speaking very highly of you, that you gotta feel very confident as a Patriot fan that, maybe Jerod Mayo is the guy. But we got to see how he is in game and, as a head coach. Because now it's a lot different. It's a lot different when you're a player as opposed to when you're a coach. So, there's a lot of other things that you got to focus on. A lot more things to focus on as a coach as opposed to a player. So, we'll see how it translates. But, having those two guys, have your back and speak highly of you in that way, it's going to make you feel good. That's going to make Patriot fans feel good. But the only way we're going to be able to evaluate Jerod Mayo as a head coach is when we see games being played. And we still have some time before that, but, that's at least encouraging to hear. And this is just a rebuild year. So, but you do want to see progress. Because if you don't see progress, then that's going to be a problem. Now, I'm not saying that, I know I brought up the 1-16, but I don't think the Patriots are going to fire Jerod Mayo after one season. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, it would have to be really, really bad, and like just the locker room is not in a good place. It would have to be really bad. Like it'd have to be like Urban Meyer level bad that you'd have to get rid of him. And Urban Meyer didn't even finish the season with the Jags, so yeah, there's not a lot of expectations with the Patriots, but it's really just how are you going to grow throughout the season, and how much of Drake May are we going to see? I mean, we really don't know when he's going to get his time because, again, Jacoby Brissett's probably going to start. But, yeah, how is this team going to progress throughout the season? That's really all it's about is progress. And if there's some progress, then, that's a green check mark there. There's no playoffs. I don't think that's an expectation. Now, if they surprise people and they have a chance to do that, then that's great for them. But I don't think that's happening. I think that's at this point it's kind of unrealistic. And it's weird. It's weird to say that because every year you're like, yeah, the Patriots they're in the playoffs every single year. It's not that case anymore. It's a new era. So now they could find themselves back in those conversations, but I think for this year and probably next year too. That's not really what the conversation is going to be about. And on top of that, the AFC is just loaded. There's so many good teams. So we're going to take our final break of the show now. Let me know what you guys think about what we just talked about, though. And then when we come back, we'll talk about the Jaguars. We'll talk about Shad Khan, the owner, talking about the Jags and the collapse from last season. And that's how we will end off the show for today. So stick around for one final time, and we will be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.